This is Leaf Life. All things cannabis for all people. Now, Ricker and the Bearded Lorax.
We publish a free magazine called The Leaf that is available in print in 14 states at your local cannabis retailer and also available online at leafmagazines.com. I'm Mike Ricker, your host of Leaf Life, with my co-host Wes Abney, also known as the Bearded Lorax.
I speak for the trees.
And of course, there's AJOG.
Hola, aloha OGs.
And Mary J. White.
Baked with love.
For almost a century, the government has denied any interaction with extraterrestrials while making a mockery of eyewitness testimonials. However, in recent years, with new information emerging through whistleblowers who utilize the power of the internet, Uncle Sam has changed the narrative and confirmed their existence.
I knew it.
Oh, man.
This is UFOs.
They're real.
Oh, yeah.
Our first segment, new disclosures. And on our second segment, why aren't we freaking out?
Yeah.
But before we get educated, we've got to get medicated. So let's get stoned.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Wherever your day has led you, out there in listener land, now it's time to fire up, chew up, or drink up, but get in the mood as we introduce this show's Greg the Guinea Pig.
Hi, I'm Greg, and Ricker used to try his weed out on me. But now it's someone else's turn to be the guinea pig.
So stoked. Our guest this time is our cover model for our January Weed and Wellness issue. He is a Viking. You know, the objective of that issue was to basically profess that men need self-care as well.
Yes.
So we got Jerry. He's a Viking. He was a beautiful model with flowing red hair. He's also a truth seeker and a freelance psychonaut, as well as an informed UFO head. Jerry Mead, welcome back to the Leaf Life podcast.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here again. I love it here every time.
And we love you, brother. So how many shows you been on? Just one, right?
I think this is my third now, isn't it? I did the third show you guys ever did.
True.
And then I came back again for the pipe carving because I did
I
that awesome
remember
Lorax
really
pipe
cool.
tour.
Yes.
Yeah, Wood
Epic.
Pipes is the name of that
Wood
show.
Pipes.
Yeah.
That was a great show. And he carved a pipe. He's a whittler.
Yep.
And he made a pipe. Took him like 1,000 hours or something like that.
It was 800.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, I did it
Wow.
all by hand, no power tools.
It
So.
was of a bearded Lorax and a
Yes.
beautiful piece of work. Go
Gorgeous.
to the Wood Pipe Show here on the Leaf Life podcast. Now, let's spin AJ's wheel to see what Jerry's going to be hitting.
All right, y'all.
What's in AJ's stash?
What you got, AJ?
Well, we've got some West Coast Cure. This is exciting, y'all. This is actually a pack it's called the gas pack.
Nice.
And let me show you. There are 3 bomb joints up in there.
Wow.
These are real OGs. We've got a couple. We got Skywalker OG, SFV OG, and WCC OG. So you're looking at some indicas and hybrids. These are legacy growers, y'all. And there's no trim, no shake in any of their stuff.
Yum.
100% top shelf flower right here. West Coast Cure, baby.
One of the biggest companies in California and one of the most reputable as well. Now, you're not going to smoke all 3 of those, Jerry. You can pick one. Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3.
Do you have a preference?
Oh, I want the Skywalker.
Of course.
For the UFO show,
Yes.
right?
Skywalker
Come on,
OG.
Star Wars.
Yes, that's what I pulled out for you.
Look at that. It was meant to be.
I figured you were going to say that, Jerry. Light up that Skywalker.
Jerry's been a friend of the Leaf magazine for many years now, Wes. You guys have been doing fucking shit for a while, huh?
Oh,
Met back in
yeah.
like 2010,
Yep.
2011.
Man, I've helped this guy move. That's how good of friends we are.
Yes.
And you know,
That's a
you,
true
long
friend.
time.
you guys could be brothers. You got the red beards and
You got the Loraxisms.
Lorax cousins. That's
That's
right.
it.
My brother from
I love
another
that.
mother.
Yeah, you should
Bless
do the
up.
ancestry.com, Jerry, and see if you have part bearded Lorax.
I
in
should,
your DNA.
You look for it right next to the Neanderthal. There'll be a little asterisk underneath that.
Here we go.
pretty
Skywalker
rare.
OG,
Ready
my
to
dude.
go.
Bless up. May this herb bless your mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
Yes, I.
There's the French
look at
inhale.
that.
By the way, Jerry
Bomb.
has a red beard as well. He's husky like a bearded Lorax with flowing red hair and just made the perfect cover model. Thank you so much, man, for being on the cover of the Leaf, brother. Now you're in the history books.
Oh,
Thanks
yeah.
for putting me on there, man. I learned from the late, great Bernie Mac a long time ago that self-care for men is gangster.
Hey,
that's right.
Shout
That's
out Bernie
right.
Mac.
All right. So
This is
UFOs,
good.
we've been, it is good weed, isn't it? Yeah. We've been looking forward to this show for a while. Now that the government admits that UFOs are real, not only is everybody confused, but they're kind of complacent about it. Why is that? And what are some new disclosures? What's in the news?
Yeah, how
You know.
ironic is that? That like
Very.
5 years ago, like UFOs are real. Oh, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist, and
Put 'em in jail.
No, now UFOs are real, and conspiracy's like, now you're lying to us. Like, what's up with that? How did it switch so quick? But absolutely, it's been, it started in the 90s with Project Blue Book when they deregulated that and it declassified and whatnot.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Blue Book was a study they started back in the 50s when the UFO stuff really took off. And they recorded thousands and thousands of eyewitness stuff. And after a couple decades, they were like, nope, it's not real. Nothing's real.
And all you people are loonies.
You're all crazy.
Yeah, for claiming
Yeah, for
that
even
you saw something
claiming you
different.
saw it. Yeah, exactly. And now it's really interesting. What really changed it, and a lot of people don't realize this, but it was the increase in technology. So our increase in radar technologies, all of a sudden we started picking up all this data out of nowhere that we were never getting before. And then they were like, it's constant everywhere. Everyone from commercial pilots to military aircraft, all kinds of people. And so they can't deny it anymore. They have all this anomalous data with nothing to back it up.
Wow.
And as of last year, they actually had the Senate hearing and fully admitted that not only are they real, but we have several craft in our possession, and there's an active cover-up, and has been for decades. And there's an organization has been formed within the federal government as of last year, AARO, the office. They are incredible. They are actually going back over the last 50 years and digging into every single thing that has every person who has had their. Ooh, that weed got me super hot.
That's all right. West Coast Cure.
Yeah, shout out to West Coast Cure.
Well, the congressional
super
hearings, it came out, we have craft.
Yes.
We have biologics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which means like actual alien beings.
Active reverse
Alien
engineering
beings.
programs where we're trying to figure out their technology and use it
Good.
for ourselves.
Good.
Ahead of
Yeah.
other countries that also have
Yeah.
recovered spacecraft.
Wow.
Exactly.
Going back to even like the Nazis in Italy and a famous crash back there. So it's, there's kind of the new space race.
Yeah.
Is figuring
The
out
new
what to
space
do
race.
with this alien tech and,
And the
not
materials.
admitting
Yeah.
The materials are what's really important.
it's crazy.
What are some new disclosures? What have we learned?
Yeah.
Something just recently happened like a month ago or so in Miami, right?
Oh, this was at the beginning of the year 2024. So this is all hyperbole, but allegedly there were giant 10-foot creatures walking around some mall in Miami. And there was a huge police presence, massive response, and the only evidence was a few grainy like cell phone footages of what looked to be like giant creatures walking around the outside of this mall. But the police have like totally denied this, and they're like, no, there was a huge fight, and there was like, dozens of teenagers and whatnot. But right now, that's the most current thing. But like 2 months ago, after the U.S.'s Senate hearing, Mexico City, they held a hearing as well. And they've had these bodies that were actually discovered in Peru.
Wow.
And they have 3 of them, 2 male, 1 female, small reptilian creatures.
How do they know male from female?
The
Shapeshifters?
female was pregnant, had active eggs.
Whoa.
And these creatures were discovered it's actually called diatomaceous earth.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a desiccant. So it basically mummified these creatures, removed
Whoa.
all the moisture, so they have these perfect mummies.
Whoa.
Well, when they first discovered them, like everyone in the world was vying for this. Like, I want to like look at these scientifically.
Yes,
University
I can
of
imagine.
Mississippi wound up getting a look at it, and they're like, this is 100% not a taxidermied specimen. This is not created by man. It's impossible.
Whoa.
Then there were rumors that Russia got one of the bodies. That may be true. In Mexico, they only displayed 2 of the bodies, and they've again reiterated there's no way that these are faked. they can't possibly be with the intricacy of the skeletal structure and things like that. It's not possible.
By the way, excuse me, Mary.
That's okay, go ahead.
Is it coincidental? I don't mean to get off track, but the University of Mississippi is the only federally licensed cannabis facility in the country, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
They get some special access there. I don't know why Ole Miss is so special to the federal government, but they get
they
a lot of
are.
special
Okay.
access.
And Mary, what were you going to ask?
Yeah.
Well, I'm worried about the families of the alien people. I
Of
mean, there's
course.
no way to get hold of them and let them know that the 3 people got desiccated in the fucking
that's the
desert.
thing is,
Yeah.
a lot of these high-end people experts, they believe that aliens are not coming here continuously,
They're here.
that they've been here for a very long time.
Well, then we need some fucking help.
Yeah.
If they're here and they're, more involved, we need some assistance.
Well, have any of you ever heard of Valiant Thor?
No.
Valiant Thor.
Valiant Thor in 1957 is an alien who landed at the Pentagon and straight up got sworn by cops. And they're like, I want to talk to the president. And they're like, okay, no problem. And they took him to the president, took him to the secretary,
What?
Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Did he look like a human?
Looked like a human.
Oh, okay.
Was not a human, was also not an alien. He was what was called a created being. So he was either a clone or an android or something, but he wasn't a natural human, but he had the appearance of they have pictures of him.
Okay.
And
Wow.
he actually was given VIP status by Eisenhower. He's been like in front of all kinds of major bodies of
Wow.
government.
Where was he from?
This is the thing.
I don't know. People speculated Venus, but he never said.
Wouldn't be
really.
Venus.
Yeah, no, not at
No,
all.
no.
No. And so, but this is also during the height of ufology.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
late 50s
Yeah.
and everything. And allegedly he left again in 1960 and then came back for a year, and he's been here ever since. And he's still here.
Where is he?
Where?
I want
Can we
to
get
talk
him on
to
the podcast?
That would be
Oh my
amazing.
God,
Valiant Thor, if you're
yes.
listening, come on out. Please show yourself. I know it's
Yes.
dangerous times compared to then, but come on, bud.
Wow.
Yeah,
Joe
That's
Rogan
yeah, real interesting.
A real being.
has this theory that just like we watch chimpanzees, and there's a lot of footage has come out of chimps and how they'll eat monkeys and those violent, nasty little critters.
Sure.
That we don't interfere with their lives.
Oh,
we just film it and we kind of
watch.
observe. So there's a pretty prevalent theory that basically, they're watching us or they're here.
Yeah.
If they have these spacecraft that can go out into space, they can certainly go into water.
Oh,
And so
sure,
it's very, very likely that there are underwater bases. There's ways that they're coming and going.
Yeah.
And so they're here. They've
Sure.
been here. I don't think we do need to worry.
I
If they
don't
wanted
either.
to fuck with
Yeah.
us,
They would have fucked with us.
Well, they have been. Allegedly, there's a lot of beliefs that not just when you think of extraterrestrial, we think of UFO coming from outside of our galaxy and landing here. But there's also a lot of theories that there's higher beings or interdimensional beings or things that are just outside of our realm of perception.
Right.
But they have the ability to essentially change their tuning like frequency on a radio.
Yeah.
And they can perceive in different realities. And we can't see our radio waves. Doesn't mean they're not there.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean they don't
exactly.
exist.
Exactly.
And so there's a lot of theory that what we consider to be aliens, we have the wrong conceptual belief. But to what you were talking about, Wes, Professor Gary Nolan from Stanford, he actually is 100% convinced that aliens have been here. And this guy is an immunologist and he backs it up, right?
Smart dude.
And he's actually discredited some alien stuff, and he's not a fan. People in the UFO society don't actually really like him, but he likens what you were talking about to if you're an advanced civilization comparatively to us, are you going to send your greatest and brightest, especially if during the 50s and 60s they were, and they had horrible interactions with our military industrial complex,
Right.
which
Yeah.
Eisenhower warned about.
Right.
JFK said he was going to disclose, and then we all know what happened to him.
CIA killed him.
Yeah.
Dude.
And it was all about the military industrial complex and disclosure. And he was openly, the week before he died, gave a speech about
Yes.
it, right?
Wow.
Yes.
Crazy stuff, right? And now for them to admit all of this is real, I think they got a lot of explaining to do for their actions.
Oh, yeah.
People like Bob Lazar, who was
early disclosure.
He was an early disclosure, allegedly a scientist, a rocket scientist
at Area 51.
At Area 51. And he started holding viewing parties because he got a hold of a schedule of test flights of these UAPs or UFOs.
By the U.S. government.
By the U.S. government. They're testing them literally in Groom Lake area. And he starts he got brazen and started like tailgating, and they're like barbecuing out there and stuff.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he they got in big trouble.
Yeah,
and he lost everything and got totally discredited and was called crazy and stuff. So he came out and started talking about it in the 80s. And the one thing I think that gives this man credence more than anything else is a material called Element 115. And Element 115 at the time was a theoretical element, which is a super heavy gravitational, basically the fuel for UFOs is what he was saying. It's how they fuel them. Not something we can produce here. In the late 90s, they started producing it. In Russia, a team of worldwide scientists. It's called now Moscovium. And it's real. And it's exactly as he described it. And this man, for being called a kook and like, you're crazy, you don't know nothing, you have no credence, you're not even a scientist. None of the schools he went to, lost all of his records, right? Yeah. You never went to school here. This guy's whole life was ruined.
They wiped him.
And now, 100% validated, in my opinion, with all this disclosure, with everything that's coming out. That man needs some reparations.
A lot of people.
And that's one story of thousands. During the Senate hearing, that David Grush guy said that he's got a list, endless list of all of these people who've received threats for attempting disclosure, whether it be physical or career-wise.
That was the other thing, and maybe we'll leave it for this half of the show, was our government admitted that they had killed U.S. citizens to protect the UFO secrets, and that aliens had killed U.S. citizens.
And that they were an open threat. And that was the scariest thing about that Senate hearing takeaway, is they are organizing to act as these entities are a threat against U.S. airspace. And one of the pilots, actually, he stated that he believes they're sending basically unmanned drones. And that's like the squares. There's these black squares inside of clear cubes. And we have records of thousands and thousands of interactions with these. And they have zero-point technology. They defy physics.
Not that kind of probes.
All right, Jerry, hey, now it's time for you to play Long Strange Trip.
Nice. Right up my alley.
His whole life is a long.
Vibing with some celebrity psychedelics. This is Long Strange Trip.
Yeah, bro.
All right.
By the way, Jerry, like I mentioned in the beginning, is a psychonaut and loves psilocybin.
I am an advocate. I am a lightweight. I cannot endure very much of it compared to some I've seen, but I don't need much to get where I'm going. And honestly, you don't need much to get benefits.
Well, you made some homemade chocolates that I absolutely love.
I do make chocolates, and I make some lemon tech capsules, and they are amazing.
All right, here we go. Number one, Long Strange Trip. It's about tripping. Although his bandmates had already tried acid, this Beatle declined to dose for an entire year because he said that he'd heard that you're never the same. When he did finally try the drug, he said, it explained the mystery of life. Which Beatle?
Wow.
Paul McCartney?
Correct.
Oh, yeah, he's the square. He's the square.
Yeah, he does come off
nice.
square.
Yeah, that was a good guess.
Number two, this famous chef who was notorious for treating life as an adventure, one time excused himself from a room while high on LSD to use the bathroom. Then he looked into the mirror and saw an Indian chief in full war paint in the mirror looking up.
Oh, that has to be Bourdain. That's gotta be.
That was my man right there.
Yeah,
Good job. Boyfriend.
Life is an adventure, sir.
This actress took acid on a beach in the Seychelles with a friend. She said she was topless when she turned around to see a busload of Japanese tourists who immediately recognized her as Princess Leia.
Oh, Carrie Fisher. She is a princess. You gave me easy ones.
Carrie.
That's awesome. That was good time.
If you want to discover cannabis news, reviews, entertainment, and culture, and explore every Leaf magazine at your convenience, search leafmagazines.com. Coming up in our second segment, we'll ask the elementary question, when it comes to UFOs, why aren't we freaking out? We'll get another spin of AJ's wheel and kick it all off with another episode of Not for Nothing with Mary J. White. Leaf Life continues in just a moment.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.
Some of the wardrobe, including Ricker or Wes's sick lids, is provided by Grassroots California. Check out the dopeness at grassrootscalifornia.com.